Hello everyone. So today we are going to continue the chapter that is Bhakti, Cult and Sufi Heritage. In that we have finished the Bhakti heritage of South India. So we have learnt about the Bhakti heritage in South India, and now today we are going to study about the Bhakti heritage in North India. So in that the first famous saint we are going to study about is Kabir Das. So Kabir Das is a famous saint of Bhakti cult, and he was the disciple of Ramananda. So this Kabir Das was the disciple of Ramananda, and this Kabir Das tried to bring harmony between Hindu and Muslim religions. So this Hindu and Muslim religions were opposite to each other. So he tried to bring harmony between Hindu and Muslim religions. And he was an adopted son for Muslim weaver couple Neeru and Neema of Varanasi. Okay, so this Kabir Das was adopted by a Muslim weaver couple known as Neeru and Neema of Varanasi. So this Neeru and Neema were from Varanasi, and he condemned caste system, luxurious life and discrimination based on religion. So he opposed these things. What are those things? Caste system, luxurious life and discrimination based on the religion. And he said that Allah and Rama are the two names of the same God, this Kabir Das said. And he described the Hindu Muslims as pots of same clay. And now Kabir told that he is son of Rama and Allah. And he also said that he was the son of both Rama and Allah. So this Rama is the god of Hindus and Allah is the god of Muslims. And he said that he is the son of Rama and Allah. According to him, it is not possible to see God by fasting, torturing the body, sacred pilgrimages. So he told that by doing these things, by torturing the body, by fasting, and by sacred pilgrimages, we can't see God. We can only see God through sacred devotion. It is only possible through a devotion. And he taught his philosophy through Doha, 2 lines poem. So this he taught his philosophy through the Doha, and Doha were the 2 lines poems. So Doha were the poems of 2 lines, which is simple and easy to understand by common man. And this Doha was simple and easy to understand by common man. And his followers were known as Kabir Panthis. Okay, so now the next is Guru Nanak, and this Guru Nanak is the founder of Sikh religion. This Guru Nanak founded the Sikh religion, and he was born in 1469 CE of he was born in 1469 CE at Talwandi in Punjab. Now it is in Pakistan. So he was born in 1469. Where he was born? In this Talawandi, which is in Punjab. Now it is in Pakistan. And Mehta Kalu means Kalu Chanda and Trupta were his parents. He stressed on good views of Hindu and Muslim religions, and he also stressed on good views of Hindu and the Muslim religions. His songs called as Japji are in Granth Sahib, sacred book of Sikhs. So his songs, the songs of Guru Nanak, were known as Japji, which were in Granth Sahib, and this Granth Sahib is the sacred book of Sikhs. Sikh cult has given importance for japa and good deeds. So this Sikh cult has given importance for japa and the good deeds. He stressed on gender equality. So he stressed about gender equality. He was not discriminating on the basis of male and female. He was stressing that gender equality means male and female are equal. Nanak had great belief in the existence of God, and this Guru Nanak had a great belief that God is there, about the existence of God, and God is one and eternal. He proclaimed. So, what did this Guru Nanak proclaim? He proclaimed that God is one and it is eternal. He said one can gain Guru through bhakti, and with bhakti one can attain mukti. And this Guru Nanak said, with bhakti one can gain a Guru, and with that bhakti one can attain mukti. He opposed social evils like idol worshipping, casteism, and sati system. So he opposed these social evils. Idol worshipping means worshipping God in the form of idol, and he opposed this casteism, and he opposed the sati system. Sati system means if a woman's husband dies, she should jump into the fire. Okay, so he opposed these things. Okay, and now during one of his travels he visited Karnataka also. So during one of his travels this Guru Nanak visited Karnataka. He stayed in Bidar, the place called Nanak Jira, and this Guru Nanak stayed in Bidar, and which place in Bidar called Nanak Jira, sweet water spring. Nanak Jira means sweet water spring. And now let's come to the next Bhakti saint, that is Tulsi Das. Okay, let's start about Tulsi Das. Tulsi Das was the first to support Bhakti Marga in North India. So this Tulsi Das was the first one who supported this Bhakti Marga in North India. He was born in a Brahmin family. Means he was a Brahmin, and he was born to a Brahmin family. And he has contributed to the Hindu literature. He wrote Ramacharita Manasa. What he wrote? Ramacharita Manasa. And this is the great book in Hindi in North. Okay, so this Ramacharita Manasa is a great book which is in Hindi in the North, and it is famous as Tulsi Ramayana, and this Ramacharita Manasa is as famous as Tulsi Ramayana. Rama Bhakta Tulsidasa. So he is known as Rama Bhakta Tulsidasa. Rama means the God, and he was respecting this Rama. He had great belief in Rama, and he was the Bhakta of this Rama. So they have said him Rama Bhakta Tulsidasa. He showed devotion, pure life, love, affection, patience, generosity among the people. And he showed devotion, pure life, love, affection, patience, generosity among the people. So you should learn this para, as the C is very short. They can give you to write the full paragraph about Tulsidas for 2 to 3 mark. So this is all about Tulsidas. Now we shall study about Mirabai. Mirabai. Okay. So this Mirabai is a renowned saint in India. Mirabai is a renowned saint in India, and she is called as Radha of Kali Yuga. So who is called Radha of Kali Yuga? Mirabai is called as Radha of Kali Yuga. She was born in a Rajput family in Rajasthan. So this Mirabai was born to a Rajput family which is in Rajasthan, and she was Raja Ratna Singh's daughter. So this Mirabai was the daughter of Raja Ratna Singh. Okay, so she married Prince of Mewar, and this Mirabai married the Prince of Mewar. She loved philosophy from her childhood, and she was loving philosophy. She liked philosophy from her childhood. So she spent her time in offering puja, meditation, and singing. Okay, so this Mirabai spent her time in offering puja, meditation, and singing. Okay, so her mother-in-law opposed her worshipping Lord Krishna. So the mother-in-law of Mirabai, mother-in-law means her husband's mother, her mother-in-law, opposed this Mirabai worshipping the Lord Krishna. And this Mirabai could not tolerate this, and she left for Brindavan. So this Mirabai could not tolerate her mother-in-law, so she left and she came to Brindavan, the pilgrimage place of Sri Krishna. So this Brindavan is the pilgrimage place of Sri Krishna. And her songs, her songs are of full devotion and love. And the songs which she have written and sung are of full devotion and of love. Giridhara Gopala is her favorite god. So which is the favorite god of Mirabai? It is Giridhara Gopala. And she has remained eternal due to her thousands of bhajanas. She has remained eternal means she is in the heart of everybody due to her thousands of bhajanas, the bhajanas which are sung by her. And the next is Chaitanya. Okay, Chaitanya. Chaitanya was born in Nabadvip Dham. Okay, so this Chaitanya was born in Nabadvip Dham, Naida. Okay, sorry, Nadia in Bengal in 1485 CE. Jagannatha Mishra and Sri Devi were his parents. Who were his parents? Jagannatha Mishra and Sri Devi were his parents. Vishwambara was his original name. So Vishwambara was the original name of Chaitanya. Okay, so now Ishwarpuri was his guru. Who was his guru? Ishwarpuri was his guru. So this can come to exam. Who is his guru? Ishwarpuri was the guru of Chaitanya. Chaitanya left his family and took sannyasa at the age of 25. So he took sannyasa in the age of 25, leaving his family, and he rejected casteism. Okay, so he rejected casteism, and bhakti is the only way to attain mukti. And he said that bhakti is the only way to attain mukti, and you can see this sentence in every saint's paragraph. So bhakti is the only way to attain the mukti, and universal love is the first step towards the god, he said. So what is the first step towards the god? Universal love is the first step towards the god. He traveled to holy places of India and spread the message of love. So this Chaitanya traveled to the holy places of India, and why did he travel? To spread the message of this love. Okay, so now love, brotherhood and generosity are the essence of his teachings. What are the essence of his teachings? Love, brotherhood and generosity are the essence of his teachings. Today's Hare Krishna cult has been influenced by him. So today's Hare Krishna cult, what is there today, was influenced by this Chaitanya. The Bengalis call him Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and also treat him as the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Okay, so these Bengalis call Chaitanya as the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and also they treat him as the incarnation of Lord Krishna, means he is the form of Lord Krishna. Okay, so this is all about the South India's and North India's Bhakti saints. So now let's see what are the influences of this Bhakti cult. What did this Bhakti cult influence? So the result means the influences of the Bhakti cult are Bhakti saints created harmony between Hindu and Muslims. So finally they created harmony between Hindu and Muslims. Bhakti saints wrote in simple common man's language, and these Bhakti saints were writing in the simple common man's language. This enriched the languages of common man. So this enriched the language of common man. Okay, so this is about the reason, means the influences of Bhakti cult. So now we have studied about the Bhakti cult. No, So this lesson name is Bhakti Cult and Sufi Heritage. So we have finished Bhakti Cult. Now let's study about the Sufi heritage. Okay. So what is the heritage of Sufi? Let's study that now. Okay. So just as Kabir, Kanakadasa, Chaitanya and others brought new awareness among the Hindus, Sufi saint brought awareness among the Muslims. So as these Kabir Das, Kanakadasa, Chaitanya, these Bhakti saints brought new awareness between Hindus, Sufi saints brought awareness among the Muslims. They worked for the harmony between Hindus and Muslims. So these Sufi saints worked for the harmony between Hindus and Muslims. The Sufi cult originated in Arabia and entered India later. So, this Sufi cult was originated in Arabia and then they entered India. Okay. So, now what is this Sufi heritage we are learning? So, what is this word Sufi? The word Sufi means Saf. Okay, so this comes from the word Saf, which means clean and clear. Okay, so this Sufi make comes from the word Saf and this means clean and clear. The Sufi saints were mystics and used to wear woolen dress. So the Sufi saints were mystics and they used to wear the woolen dress. Okay, what they used to wear? Woolen dress. Okay. So the next is essence of Sufi cult. What is the essence of this Sufi cult? What did this Sufi cult was preaching? What did they taught? So the first essence is God is one. He is powerful. We all are his children, it said. God is one, he is powerful, and we all are his children. And they encouraged good deeds. So they encouraged good deeds, doing good deeds. And they also said all are equal. We should not discriminate based on gender, caste, religion. Okay, all are equal. And the fourth is they opposed the caste system. Okay, they opposed caste system. So the next is later on, Sufis were influenced by Yoga, Vedanta, and Buddhist thoughts. And later on, these Sufis were influenced by Yoga, Vedanta, and Buddhist thoughts. And they also said Dharma means love. Service to mankind is important. Okay? These are some of the philosophical thoughts of Sufis. What are the philosophical thoughts of Sufis? They are Dharma means love, service to mankind is important. Okay, and these are some of the philosophical thoughts of Sufis. So now let's study about some of the Sufi saints. Okay, so as we studied about the Bhakti saints with the introduction of Bhakti cult, now we have finished the introduction of Sufi heritage and Sufi cult. So let's study some of the Sufi saints. Okay, so the first is Nizamuddin Auliya. So this Nizamuddin Auliya is the main Sufi saint. Okay, so this Nizamuddin Auliya is one of the main Sufi saints. He lived in Delhi and lived a life of poverty. So this Nizamuddin Auliya was living in Delhi and he lived a life of poverty. Masjid with that shed roof was his center of activity. So the masjid which has that shed roof was the center of the activity of Nizamuddin Auliya. And he refused the village gifted by Sultan of Delhi. And this Nizamuddin Auliya refused one of the village which was gifted by the Sultan of Delhi. Okay, so this Sultan of Delhi gifted a village to Nizamuddin Auliya, but this Nizamuddin Auliya refused. And he preached to the devotees who visited to him to practice good qualities and kindness. So he also preached to his devotees who visited his center to practice good qualities and kindness. Okay. So this is all about the Nizamuddin Auliya. Now let's let's study about the Bande Nawaz. Bande Nawaz is the famous Chishti Sufi saint. Okay, so Bande Nawaz is one of the famous Chishti Sufi saint. He was the disciple of Nasiruddin of Delhi. So this famous Sufi saint was the disciple of Nasiruddin, who was of Delhi. Bande Nawaz means protector of those who came to his shelter. Okay. So what is Bande Nawaz? It means the protector of those who came to his shelter. And his original name was Jesu the Raj. Okay, so the original name of Bande Nawaz is Jesu the Raj. Means long haired. He knew Sanskrit, Arabic, Parsi, Dakkani, and many more languages. See, he know all these languages. What are they? Sanskrit, Arabic, Parsi, Dakkani, and many more languages. He settled in Kalaburgi. He was respected by the king Firoz Shah. And this Khwaja Bandena was settled in Kalaburgi. And he was respected by the king known as Firoz Shah. He wrote in Dakkani language. So he used to write in Dakkani language. His literature is still preserved in Kalaburgi library. So the literature of this Khwaja Bande Nawaz. Okay, Khwaja Bande Nawaz is still preserved in Kalaburgi library. Every year his urs is held in Kalaburgi. And every year the urs of Bande Nawaz is held in Kalaburgi. So this is all about this Khwaja Bande Nawaz. Okay. So now let's study about the Chishti sect. Okay. Chishti sect. In Sufi cult, Chishti sect is important. So in the Sufi culture, Chishti sect is very important. And Moinuddin Chishti is the founder of this Chishti sect. Who is the founder of this Chishti sect? Moinuddin Chishti is the founder of this Chishti sect. He came and settled in Ajmer. So where did this Moinuddin Chishti sheltered? In Ajmer. Devotion towards God, service to Guru, good life are the main features of Chishti followers. What are the main features of these Chishti followers? They are devotion towards the God, service to God, and good life. Okay. So now he had concern for harmony of Hindu and Muslims, and he also had the concern for harmony of Muslims and Hindu. He wrote in Dakkani language, and this Moinuddin Chishti also used to write in Dakkani language. Dakkani means nothing but Urdu. Salim Chishti from Fatehpur Sikri was famous among them. So this Salim Chishti, okay, Salim Chishti, who was from Fatehpur Sikri, was famous among them. Okay, so this is Salim Chishti tomb in Agra. Okay, so now let's study something. Lahore, today's Pakistan, which is in Sheikh Ismail Ajmer Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti. Okay, so this Ajmer is the place where Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti lived, and Delhi is the place where Nizamuddin Aulia lived, and Arcot is of Tippu Maharashtra Aulia, and Kalaburgi is of Khwaja Bande Nawaz. Okay, so through this we have finished our chapter with the last of Chishti sect, Bhakti, cult, and Sufi heritage. So before ending this, let's see chronology. Okay, chronology, which is very important. You should study this. Nizamuddin Aulia's period. So when was this Nizamuddin Aulia's period? From 1238 to 1325 CE. And Kabir Das period was from 1440 to 1518 CE. And Guru Nanak's period was from 1469 to 1539 CE. And Purandara Dasa's period was from 1480 to 1564 CE. So and the next is Chaitanya's period. Okay, so Chaitanya's period was from 1485 to 1533, and Mirabai's period was from 1498 to 1569 CE. And Kanakadasa's period was from 1508 to 1606 CE, and Tulsidasa's period was from 1532 to 1623 CE. And I will upload the notes of this lesson Bhakti, Cult and Sufi Heritage soon. So I hope you understood the lesson. Thank you.